Yo, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Once again, man, we are live and direct. MMA Reloaded, Real Talk, the show where we talk real, we never lie, cheat, and steal. And if you want to live by that message, we got shirts that will help you do that, boy. Yeah, so when people read what's on the back of your shirt, yeah, they're going to back the fuck off. Folks, tonight is a very special one, man. First of all, I want to thank everyone who joined us and everyone who's viewing our 30th episode, which aired last week with Anthony Andrew Kawani. It was, we just wanted to go back to where we first, came to the dance of being an MMA broadcasting industry, and I will guarantee right now, man, 30 episodes marks the fact that MMA Reloaded is growing. It is going to continue to grow. And folks, it is a revolution. And that is my goal, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, today, episode 31 of MMA Reloaded, Real Talk. And today I go back to, and like I said about being brought back to the dance. It all started with interviewing the brightest and biggest stars of the future in mixed martial arts. Johnny Munoz, Jerome Renegade Rivera, Gifted, Gabriel Green, and of course Kevin Worth, Bokang, Masanyane. And now look at where these and I'm proud to call them friends. I'm proud to call all of my guests, man, all of the guys who come and join me on the show. I'm proud to call them friends. And folks, today I go back to that route of interviewing another one of the brightest stars of the future in mixed martial arts. 1-0 in his professional career. He just transitioned to the pro ranks after spending time dominating the amateurs down in Colorado. He is the number 5 ranked flyweight in Colorado, according to Tapology. He is Chaz Alex. Folks, Chaz Alex just made his debut at Legacy at LFA 88 back in August. And of course, during these unprecedented times, I think it's a blessing in disguise for a young fighter to make his debut in such a big organization, or have that opportunity to transition from amateur to pro, as Chaz Alex did. So, folks, it will give me great pleasure to welcome Chaz. If you're not following him on Instagram, follow him on Instagram. If you're not following us on Instagram, I don't know what the fuck or who the fuck you've been following. Folks, of course, tonight is fight night, and I love doing podcasts here when fight night is upon us, because it just adds that little extra fuel to the fire before you guys turn on your TVs, turn on your laptops, turn on your iPhones, turn on your Android phones, your iPads, whatever it may be, to stream the events tonight. And folks, we've got 2 events tonight. First of all, tune into the MMA Octagon, the UFC Octagon, where Brian Ortega returns after a classic championship fight with Max Holloway. Brian Ortega returns to take on Korean zombie Chan Sung Jung. Now, Chan Sung Jung returned after his championship fight with Jose Aldo. He returned after 4 years after that title fight to knock out Dennis Bermudez. He knocked out Renato Moicano. He knocked out Frankie Edgar. He went into a classic on the UFC's 25th year anniversary with Yair Rodriguez, which he lost. But folks, tonight, Korean Zombie goes into a number 1 contender fight with Brian Ortega. Now, if you ask me, if we look at the featherweight division, Brian Ortega, Korean Zombie, 2 of the most deserving competitors for that championship shot. First of all, because they're esteemed, yeah, they have developed and evolved their reputation over the years in the UFC to of course present themselves with this opportunity. They earned it. Then you got guys like, you got guys like Calvin Kattar. Yeah, Calvin Kattar is right up there with the best of the best featherweights. Yeah, along with Zabit Magomed Sharipov. Zabit was the man who a lot of people were rumoring to have the next featherweight championship shot, as was Zabit versus Jair Rodriguez about to be made. So the featherweight division is pretty much a mission mash of who fights who, if you will. Yeah, what are the best matchups? But at the top, there is no mistaking. Brian Ortega and Korean Zombie return tonight to have a clinical fight. A fight which, folks, of course, will get the opinion of Chaz about Fight Night, but also would you got to look at the pace and the styles of Brian Ortega and Korean Zombie. Brian Ortega loves to counter strike. When he's on the feet, he loves to counter strike. He loves to utilize his reach. He has fantastic kicks. If he can use his kicks and his knees, utilize his reach. Don't let Korean Zombie come forward. If Brian Ortega, shown here in my right hand, if Brian Ortega, stays like this, stays at range, throws that kick, throws a couple of kicks, moves in, throws a combination, Brian Ortega could actually piece up Korean Zombie for 5 rounds. But if Korean Zombie comes in close, Chan Sung-jung's great. His boxing is fantastic when he's up close. His hands are so fast that you won't be able to see shit coming. So it's all about pace in this one, I think. It's going to be clinical if it gets to the mat. Both guys have innovative, great jiu-jitsu, but on the feet, you're going to be looking at pace. Whose pace dictates the fight? And who's going to be on the back foot? So I'm so intrigued to see this one go down, man. Also, folks, tonight we turn to your other screens on the world of boxing. Now, folks, of course, tonight is an undisputed championship fight, winner take all, between one of the greatest boxers in this modern era, Vasyl Lomachenko, taking on the IBF lightweight champion in Teofimo Lopez, Honduras' own. Of course, if you're looking at resume, you got to look at Vasyl, you got to look at Vas, you got to look at Loma, man. If you're looking at, I don't know, flamboyance in Teo's game, yes, he's got flamboyance. Teo is a very flamboyant guy, but he's hard hitting. What Teo does is he keeps you guessing. His footwork is pretty much stationary. But what he does is he's got great limbs. His long limbs, folks, and his long arms, it makes it harder for his opponent to guess where Teofimo is actually going to punch from. Is he going to stay stationary, load up his right hand, or is he going to, come in and use his footwork, use his angles to throw combinations? He's got a fantastic right hand, folks, which he loves to load up. He loves to go like this and do that little Leon Edwards sort of one arm thing where he's got one arm up and then he's loading up the other. But no one knows when he's actually going to throw it, and when he does, he's so quick. And then you got Loma. Now Lomachenko, folks, is no surprise how he fights. He loves to be technically beautiful. That's how I'm going to say. He is technically beautiful. What he does, folks, is he has great boxing in the pocket. But what Loma loves to do is he loves to keep you guessing with his footwork. That's how he stays. He stays like that, man. His footwork, his jab, his footwork, his combinations, You get put off guard with Loma if you keep concentrating on his feet, and the way he's moving. But when Lomachenko starts throwing shots, you're going to end up off your game. You're going to see what's coming, and it's not going to be pretty, folks. Fuck, I need to stop saying No, but folks, for real, it is such a great night of fights tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming. And folks, of course, it's time to do the particulars with Chaz. I'm looking forward to this one, man. Hopefully, Chaz joins, and he will join on time. You know what I mean, folks? Like, I don't want to keep my guys waiting, and that. You know what I'm saying? 1 second. Da, 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 da. Folks, welcome back. Of course, we have to do the particulars and invite Chaz to the show. Let's just message him more. So, folks, we are just about ready, just about set. Chaz Alex is about to come on. I love doing this with young, bright, young fighters. You get a different point of view, man, in my opinion, because if you have a bright young guy or a bright young fighter on the show, it gives you like a perspective which is very open-minded. If you have a veteran, it gives you a perspective that already has, you know, a picture painted in his mind or her mind. Okay, cool. This was his question, but this is what I do as a routine. If you have a young guy, they're a lot more open-minded. I think, you know, and it's great to hear how they get started out and stuff. Um, So yeah, folks, you know, tonight is a very, very, very good night of fights, folks. In the UFC, we got Caitlin Chukagian and Jessica Andrade headlining the fight, folks. If you look at Jessica Andrade, see, if you look at Caitlin Chukagian, folks, she's coming off her championship fight with Valentina Shevchenko, a fight which, with Antonina, actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, folks, yeah, my bad, you know. So Caitlin Chukagian's last two fights, folks, she's fought the Shevchenko sisters. She lost her championship shot to Valentina, where I think, you know, she was pretty much outclassed on the feet. She got a lot of pressure put on her, man. And when Valentina caught her at the end, it was an absolute fucking it was a great performance by the champ. But you showed that Caitlin showed how game and how tough she actually is against against an Antonina Shevchenko. Caitlin Chukagian was 100% perfect. 3 out of 3 takedowns she landed. She even threw up 4 submission attempts in that time. 200 total strikes were Caitlin Chukagian, 73 significant. Such those are some stats for your ass. I think Caitlin Chukagian's a very underrated fighter. I don't think um, you know, the UFC has really grasped how good of a talent she is yet, you know, promotionally. I think what she has in her favor going into this fight is height. Jessica Andrade is not the tallest fighter, as we've seen. But we've seen what Jessica Andrade has done to Rose Namajunas, winning the belt, where she closed the gap. She picked Rose up and she slammed her. With Caitlin Chukagian, you can see sort of pretty much the same scenario going down where, you know, she can close that gap and slam Caitlin, but will she play that game, or will Caitlin use her wrestling early? Will she use her ground game? Will she throw off Jessica Andrade with her pace, with her technique? I mean, it's a great fight. It's a great matchup though to have as your co-main event. You never know, man. The winner of this one could be Valentina Shevchenko's next opponent for the belt. You also have James Krauss taking on Claudio Anibal Silva in a great fight. James Krauss is coming back. Folks, he's 8-1 in his last 9 fights. He looks fantastic. His last fight was a loss to Trading Giles. There's no shame in that. No shame at all. But Claudio Silva, folks, is decorated, a great grappler, 14-1 in his pro career. He looks fantastic, man. I have to say, he's 2-0 right now. I think in UFC. Let's just have a look. Got to just verify the sources and that. Yeah. So, folks, he's undefeated in the UFC. We're looking at 5-0 in the UFC. His last beating guys. He's beaten Leon Edwards. But really, he beat Leon Edwards by split decision in 2014 to Claudio Silva. Yeah, he's beaten Danny Roberts, beaten Nordine Taleb, even Cole Williams. It's you know, Claudio Silva. Maybe he should be getting promoted by the UFC a lot more. Who knows? Who knows, man? Um, you know, dang, Claudio Silva. Sorry about that, folks. Just gotta do the particulars. Yeah. Shit. Oh shit. Oh, shit. What's going on, folks? Sorry about that, man. You know, the particulars are becoming a lot more difficult nowadays. Becoming a lot more difficult. But Chaz is ready to join us, folks. We are about to go live and direct with our special guest of the evening, one and all in pro MMA, but one of Colorado's biggest and brightest stars coming up, man. Chaz Alex, folks. What's going on? Well, folks, you know, man, that's about it, really. That's it. If you want more, folks, on tonight's fight nights, of course, we've done a UFC Fight Island 6 breakdown for tonight on Instagram that's available to view. We always do it, folks, and we've done it for this one, folks. So if you want more information on the fights tonight, tune in to MMA Reloaded on Instagram, and just check it out. Thomas Almeida returns tonight. Damn, I'm looking forward to that with Jonathan Martinez. Should be some Bruce Lee versus Jackie Chan shit in that one. We got great fights coming up tonight, man, and I'm looking forward to them. There's Chaz Alex, he's waiting. Let's have a look. Yo, what's going on? What's going on, bro?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, bro. How are you, man?
I'm hanging in there. Can't complain.
Damn right, man. Bro, you know what, Chaz? First of all, bro, it's great to have you on the show, man. It's always great to have great young lions of the sport of MMA on the show. That's what brought me to the dance in the first place, man. I guess. But bro, you're 1-0 right now in your career. You just had your first pro fight at Legacy, of all places, bro. Legacy, and in August during COVID-19. Yeah, how did that feel? Because it's kind of like a blessing in disguise to you, then, bro. It makes COVID-19 all worth it for you because you made your pro debut.
Yeah, definitely didn't know what was going to happen this year. I wasn't sure if we were going to fight at all. It was very interesting. I was blessed to get the opportunity, jumped at it as soon as I could. And I can't thank my management team enough and my team for getting me ready for it. And I can't thank the LFA enough for giving me the opportunity. It was awesome. Thought it was a little weird with no crowds, but it was fun. It was a good
Yeah,
experience, and I'll never forget it.
yeah, man. I mean, especially in times like this, where you need some good news to uplift you, right? So,
Right.
I guess for that to come about, you must have been fucking ecstatic, bro, when you got that news. Um, and to put the icing on the cake, uh, rear naked choke submission.
Right.
Did you feel any pressure coming in, bro? Being your pro debut, being in the middle of COVID-19, did you feel the pressure coming in, or did you maintain the composure all the way through?
Um, I want to say that I didn't feel pressure, but I think I put a lot more on myself than um, I needed to. It was a nerve-wracking experience for sure. Being my pro debut and potentially being on UFC Fight Pass, and then got lucky to get the finish from all the hard work that I put in, and then I actually got shared on UFC Fight Pass's Facebook page and got a lot of views. And um, but yes, no, the nerves are there. I don't care what anybody says. The nerves are there. You're about to get into a fist fight, no matter where it's at. You got nerves.
Like that, right? I think I think for any young fighter, having your pro debut like that it is nerve wracking, bro. They can say whatever they want, but
Right.
you're a human being at the end of the day, and um,
Exactly.
going in there for your first pro fight and that legacy of all places, bro, is nuts. Um, but
Yeah, it
Chaz,
was.
bro, yeah, man, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say, yeah, it was a great experience. They really know how to run a show. They're very organized. It was awesome.
Yeah, man. Chaz, for the fans to know a little bit about you, bro. You're fighting out of Colorado right now, out of Pariah MMA. How did it all start for you in martial arts, bro, in combat sports?
Um, well, originally I would have to thank wrestling. I started wrestling from the time I was 13 years old. I was in seventh grade, 12, 13-ish. I think that's the age when you're in seventh grade. My dad pushed for me to wrestle since the time I was 4, and never really got into it. And then finally took that leap of faith in the seventh grade in middle school. And um, that kind of sparked, my very first martial art. So that was wrestling. And then I did high school wrestling, and then I wrestled a little bit in college. I only did a year at college, but I wrestled for the University of Whitewater, Wisconsin. Um, and then I took a break for a long time. I kind of lost the love. I was cutting weight the wrong way back in the day, all that, running on the treadmill, the sweatsuits, the miserable life of that. And I told myself I'd never do it again. And then I found myself out in Colorado. I'm originally from the state of Illinois, a small town, Fox Lake. And I ended up out here, and I was at the job I was currently at, not really liking it very much, retail job. And this customer came in, and he was wearing a Pariah MMA t-shirt. And I said, "Hey man, where's that gym?" Told me where it was, and I told him, I'm gonna get in there. And he was like, I remember he gave me a funny look, and then I said, "I promise, within the month I'll be in that gym. I just don't know when, but within a month I'll be in that gym."
Yeah.
And that was that was about 3 years ago, just about 3 years ago, two and a half, 3 years ago, and I never looked back. I ended up quitting my job, and now it's full time MMA, man. That's all I do. It's what I eat, breathe, and sleep. I can't imagine another way of life. Yeah, never looking back.
Yeah, man. Making that transition because you spent your amateur career in Colorado, bro, a majority of it, right? So making that transition from amateur to professional MMA, how was that? How was that transition for you, man? Did you have to change up anything training wise? Did you have to, cut weight differently? How was that experience for you,
Um, the the fight itself wasn't any different, but the transition, I guess, every fight that I've had, I feel like I elevate the camp, and to me, it's just I don't. It's not necessarily on purpose. It's just the more fights you get, the more motivated I get. The more that fight's the most important fight. That's the current fight, so I get very excited. So that transition from amateur to pro was um, you go from 3 minute rounds to 5 minute rounds, so that was a little bit different. But we always trained with 5 minute rounds. I've trained with 5 minute rounds even when I was an amateur. So, um, but just the push, the cardio pace was a little bit different. I feel like uh, it's just more at stake at the pro level, and people who fight at the pro level really want it. I mean, they wouldn't do it if they weren't, if they weren't there. So yeah, the transition wasn't really too different. Just the value that the fight holds is a little bit different when it's professional versus amateur. I feel like amateur is kind of like your practice career. You make mistakes, you learn from them. Not that you can't make mistakes in professional fight and learn from them, but um, you don't want to get a loss, and it weighs a little bit heavier, so the pressure is a little bit different. So I would say that the pressure was different, but the diet and the weight cut was no different. Very high on my nutrition and pushing water, and um, I've never really not dieted, So um, don't get me wrong, we eat bad here and there, but I love I love good food, so it's kind of a blessing. If I eat bad stuff, my stomach's killing me anyhow. So,
man?
here and there we have our cheat meals, but no, I'm really strict, especially in camp. I'm very strict on my diet. I don't slip up. I push water, minimum of a gallon a day. Most of the time is 2 gallons a day. So the weight cut went really well. It was my first time going down to 125 pounds since I was about 16 years old in high school. So, I
Yeah.
was 135 my whole amateur career, and then we made the transition down, and it went really smoothly.
Yeah, man. I'm surprised, man, because normally if you haven't cut that much weight in such a long time, it must have been what how much did you weigh walking around before the fight?
Before the fight, But I walk around between 140 and 145. Most of the time, the 45 mark. But when I get my diet going and I'm very strict, I'm walking around 38. So, and then with pushing water and doing everything right, um, I only had to cut 6 pounds the morning of, so
No,
it really wasn't too bad. Morning of weigh-ins, um, came off really well, but I got to thank my coach for staying on us with keeping us pushing water and all that. My coach Drew Lawrence, if it weren't for him, a lot of this wouldn't be possible.
no,
He really helps with the weight cut. He's very smart. He knows everything from nutrition to training, to recovery. He knows it all. So, um, yeah, the 6 pounds came off pretty easy. We just did the bath cut, and yeah, no sweatsuits involved, no running, no hurting myself. So, diet's real. Fighters out there, you don't take that as a joke, man. If you want to do this, stay up on your diet.
damn right. I mean, that is as important or even more important than the actual fight itself. Yeah, Chaz, because I know that even now at the professional level, even at the big stages in the UFC or in Bellator, Dana White or Scott Coker, whoever it may be, has to kick their fighters in the ass. Even now, yeah, bro,
Yeah,
to make your weight. If you don't make your weight, you have to give up money now in the UFC. So
right.
so it kind of, but that's something that comes along with the territory, right? So as your experience goes on, your weight cutting should be a lot stricter. Um, uh, and that's I commend you on the strictness that you take and the commitment you have in cutting that weight, bro. You know, um, training at Pariah, yeah, bro, MMA. It's a gym, in my opinion, bro. From what I saw, is a gym which promotes a grind, right? It's a gym which promotes hard work. It's a gym which has so many young fighters up and coming in that gym. You're all in the same boat, right? So you're all there to help each other get better. How has that experience been like for you training at Pariah?
Um, well, it's been great. I mean, it's the only gym I've trained MMA at, but it's going to be the only gym I train MMA at. I don't ever see myself leaving. We're 100% a family. We hold each other responsible for being at practice. Um, my coach is just he makes it fun. Don't get me wrong. There's times where we're getting yelled at, and that's all part of it. But the experience is just amazing. I love all my teammates. Everyone pushes each other. Um, some of my main training partners that are around my weight class are Ashley Dean, Jaime Hernandez, Zach Riley, Anthony Salazar, Edwin Chavez. I mean, the list goes on. We got a lot of small guys, but anyone I forgot, I love all you guys. You're important. Um, but yeah, it's awesome. We always push each other. It's always fun. There's always laughs. We're always joking. But then when it's time to get serious, we know when to do that as well. We know when to buckle down and really lock it in and get in some great rounds and some great reps. So um, everything is done at Pariah. All the strength, the conditioning, the cardio, uh, all techniques are practiced there. So yeah, it's a one-stop shop really. I know a lot of other fighters have to, pay their strength and conditioning coach, or they have to go somewhere else for cardio and do a pad session somewhere and then do jujitsu somewhere else. Not over by us, man. We got it all, and I don't see myself going anywhere else to do anything.
That's a huge benefit. That is a huge benefit, Chaz, because firstly, because you don't have to go anywhere else to train anything else, right? You
Right.
have everything where you need at Pariah. Whereas you're so right, bro. Is what these guys do or right now in the ranks are that okay, cool. I'll train striking here, and then I'll go here and I'll do jujitsu or I'll do wrestling. Yeah, and that's what they do right now. But having that stationary gym, it's so good for a fighter like you, man. You're right now at pro ranks. Yeah, you need somewhere where you have that attention. Yeah, and you have that place where you can build. You don't have the stress of going anywhere else. So no, man, damn right. And as you said about weight cutting, yeah, bro. As we were saying about weight cutting, and that you had that experience of going into the sauna suit and sweating your ass off. Um, in my opinion, how hard is it, bro? In your opinion, or how important is it? Sorry, for a fighter to keep a strong mentality uh, and be headstrong. How important is that, bro?
During the weight cut, you're saying to stay
Uh,
mentally.
in general, like if you're coming off a loss, or if you have a weight cut like that,
Right.
or just as you walk as you walk down the aisle, as you're in the dressing room, as and living the life of an MMA competitor, how important is it to stay mentally strong?
Well, I mean, it's 100% the main thing. If it's to me, it's you versus you in the fight. I mean, so if you're not mentally locked in, it's really going to weigh in on you. It's going to take a toll. Mental strength and fighting's 90% mental, 10% physical. If you're not mentally locked in, that can lose you the fight. You may be the better fighter, but if you're not mentally locked in, um, that can definitely lose you the fight. Um, I would say mentality is everything. If you're not confident in yourself and your abilities, you won't pull the trigger. You won't execute. So you could practice all you want, but if you don't have the mental capacity or the mental strength to handle it, because it's scary. It's a fight. It is a fist fight, no matter what. Like you said, we're human beings, so there's so much pressure and there, you got all the crowd yelling. There's boos, there's cheers, there's, you know, you got your mom in the crowd. You got your girlfriend or your wife, or your whole family, all your friends. So
Yeah,
there's all these things that weigh into it, and if you're not mentally focused or you're not being mentally strong, um, it can really it'll determine the outcome of the fight, in my opinion. Um,
uh,
I will gladly lose if I'm mentally locked in. I will not be okay to lose if I did something where I was just not focused and I wasn't being
mhm.
mentally strong, excuse me. So yeah, mentality is everything in the fight. And mentality is everything in life. You know, it's if you're not mentally strong, you're not going to succeed really in any venture you choose.
Definitely, definitely, man. Truer words have never been spoken, my bro. You know what, Chaz? Because if you look at now, right, 2020, and I think the past decade in mixed martial arts has been dominated by social media. Yeah, by call outs on social media, by criticisms on social media. Whether you're
Right.
an announcer like Joe Rogan, getting told by fans to get him kicked off Spotify, or your Herb Dean, getting shouted at by Paul Felder and that shit going viral, or uh, you know, a guy like Kamzat Chimaev or Conor McGregor, yeah, and all you do is call guys out on social media, right? So if you're on the opposite side of a social media criticism or a social media call out or anything like that, bro, that has such a bad effect on a fighter mentally
Yep.
when he or she is going into a fight, bro, because either you've been overwhelmed or you've been starstruck, yeah, bro, going in. How do you feel about social media in MMA, bro? Because you never know. You could be on the right side of it, or you could be on the side that fucks up completely.
Right. Well, my opinion overall on social media is don't get too sucked in. Don't let it control your life. Don't all those people talking with their Twitter fingers and stuff.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I haven't been on the wrong side of social media yet. I'm sure it's all part of the career. People like to talk shit. That's part of it.
Yeah.
But you can't get too sucked in. Don't read all the comments. Don't get like, you're the one being locked in the cage that night, nobody else. So win, lose, or draw, um, you shouldn't let social media weigh in on it. And I know that it can, and I'm not saying that it won't if I ever get into that point. But as of right now, I try not to let it get to me at all. People can talk shit all they want, but at the end of the day, we're going to get locked into a cage. So
Yeah. Yeah.
run your lips all you want, but we'll see what happens when you're getting punched back in the face.
Yeah.
You can talk all you
Definitely.
want. That's not going to really matter.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I would not let social media. My advice to other fighters and kids out there that are trying to get into this, social media definitely sells yourself. The more followers you have, it's better. It sells your fights. Don't get me wrong, but do not let it control your life. Do not let it suck you in.
Oh man, bro, 100% agree. Yeah, because that's exactly my point, bro, and that's exactly why I asked you that question is because we were just talking about being mentally strong and having that mentality. Yeah, bro, because yeah, man, social media right now is such a huge factor in. All right, cool. I'm not next to you. Yeah, we're not in person, but that doesn't mean I can't talk shit to you from here to here. You
Right.
know? Um. So yeah, I think social media in MMA is a huge thing. And we've seen it so many times. We've seen it. We're still seeing it now. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And I can't. Uh, yeah, sometimes it is interesting, but I like it. I find it entertaining, but I
Yeah.
don't like. Oh,
Don't get me wrong. It's so funny. Like watching, the guys that are really good at it, like Israel Adesanya with all his memes, and
yeah,
the Black Beast with all his funny things when he's okay. All social media can be great. It can be super funny. But then there's that fine line where
yeah,
and a
yeah,
lot of people cross it, unfortunately. And a lot of things that are said on social media are not said when people are face to face. So
yeah, yes, yeah, bro. And even when Israel Adesanya and John Jones were going one on Twitter, yeah,
yeah,
bro. The first couple of exchanges, you could say, "Oh shit," or "Holy shit," or "He said this," or "He said this." But when you bring in another guy's family, yeah, bro, and you think that that's okay
no,
because you're in an exchange, it's not okay, bro.
not at all.
Yeah. And if you're Conor McGregor, bro, and what Conor McGregor did to Dustin Poirier was was when they were organizing the rematch. Yeah, Chaz, there were mutual respect. There was good tweets being thrown. They weren't showing any hate.
Right.
And now Conor McGregor posts a video on Twitter saying that Dustin's gonna get dusted again. Yeah, bro. And
Yeah. I mean, well, to be honest, Connor, I mean, I don't work for the UFC and I'm not part of that or anything, but I think the
yeah,
man was a little bit desperate for a fight. I
yeah,
mean, said he was going to go on a season after the Cowboy Cerrone fight, and he didn't do so. And he's always in and out of getting in trouble. He can never seem to last a whole year without doing something stupid. I'm a big fan. I love his fighting style. Don't get me wrong. I love Connor's fighting style. He's one of the best to ever do it. But he himself, one of the most famous fighters, one of the most profitable fighters there is still one to get too sucked into social media. Um, you know, and I think he had to play nice to get that fight. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because Khabib's not going to fight him. Justin Gaethje's not going to fight him. A lot of other people, like, they say they want to fight him, but do they really? And then he had to be nice to Dustin to get that rematch. I think Dustin. Nobody's scared to fight him. That's not what I'm saying, but I think he needed to be nice and get that rematch and kind of get the respect of his fans and everybody again. And I can't wait for the fight. I hope it happens. No contracts have even been signed yet, I heard, but I love when Conor fights. I love to watch him fight. And yeah, but
Yeah.
like I said, social media getting to you too much. You got what you wanted, and now you're talking shit again. Like I didn't even know that yet, but yeah, I mean, doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly, bro. And that's what actually, just pisses me off is that what's wrong with just showing another guy respect? Yeah, you're fighting him anyway. Yeah, and it's about this close to being made. So what's the point?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I
and
think at the end of the day, he always wants to be in the limelight. So whether it's doing something good or bad, he just wants to be in the headlines. He just wants to be talked about. And he's not the only one. There's plenty of other fighters out there like that, you know. So sometimes that's what people have to do to make themselves feel good. I hope that I never stoop to that level, whether, you know, rich or famous, you know, try to stay the same, remain humble. Like I said, at the end of the day, you can run your lips all you want, but we're going to be locked into a cage eventually. So,
and and Chaz, like, um, bro, and Dustin Poirier, bro, has he's a different beast. It's 6 years in the making. Yeah, bro. So he's a different animal than what he was at UFC 169 or 173 when they last fought. He's not gonna be sucked into Conor McGregor's bullshit now.
no.
Like he's gonna come in and he's jacked to heavy. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, he was a young, they were both real young, but I mean, that was when, that's when Connor was like, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's never not run his mouth, but I
He
mean,
was on point.
I could see why he would be intimidating back in the day. I mean, I don't know what fight that was for Dustin, but it was both early in their careers, you know. So they're both grown men now. Things are different. Um, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a really interesting fight. We'll see what happens. I do
Yeah,
think Conor will pull it off. Conor, I think, is just a superior striker. Um, but Dustin's a phenomenal striker now too. Not that he ever wasn't, but like you said, 6 years in the making. He's fought some of the toughest people. Has had potential fight of the years.
yeah.
So I have a feeling it's going to be a good one.
No, no, me too. Yeah, damn right, Chaz, man. Shit, now I'm looking forward to it now even more, bro. Yeah, man. If and with you, bro, making your pro debut at flyweight, and as you mentioned before, being a bantamweight for most of your career, do you see yourself staying at bantam at flyweight, or do you see yourself going back up to bantamweight?
No, I'm gonna remain at flyweight. I think that's my home. To be honest, when I'm at 135, I don't cut any weight at all. When my diet gets super locked in,
Yeah,
my last few amateur fights, I woke up on weight. So, um, I which is great. Don't get me wrong, but these 35ers are cutting from 160, and I don't even see that weight. So, you know, some
yeah,
are even bigger than that. So, um, you know, people try to say that size doesn't matter when it comes into the fight, you know, as long as you're healthy, but
yeah.
it really can. And for me personally, I feel most comfortable at 125. I feel just as strong at as I am at 135. I don't feel weak, so there's no reason to go up.
Yeah.
I mean, that day comes if I, you know, I'm the UFC flyweight champion in the world and no one else wants to beat me, then, you know, then we'll see what happens. But till that day, we're staying at 125.
Chaz, the reason why I asked you because the flyweight division, bro, in my opinion, the flyweights are getting the most traction they've had since their inception, since Demetrius Johnson ran the division,
Yeah,
and the reason why is because the stars are coming out at 125. And that legacy, bro, you're part of such a prodigy, yeah, group. Yeah, you're part of the greatest young lions, I think, man. Because I think flyweights, bro, the greatest flyweights in the world are produced by legacy, in my opinion. And because you've had so many flyweight champions, so many bantamweight champions that have come out of legacy. So in my opinion, bro, how do you perceive the flyweight division right now? What's your view on the flyweight division right now? Not only, in the UFC, but how it's sort of come back up from a division which was going to be thrown out. How it's
Um,
come back to where it is now.
well, like you said, I think. I mean, thank you, Henry Cejudo, right? I mean, they say
Yeah,
he saved it, but I mean, we're some of the most entertaining fights there are. There's nonstop action the whole time. We're the fastest. Um, we don't really get tired. We're so the flyweight division is awesome. I'm glad it's still here. And I think it's here to stay. I don't think it's going anywhere now. Like you said, it's gaining traction in all platforms, not just the UFC. I mean, the regional circuits are getting just as big. So
yeah,
like the LFA, CES, Combat America is CFFC, Island Fights, Titan Fights. I mean, the list goes on. The regional circuit's getting big, and
yeah,
the flyweights are here to stay. We're not going anywhere. If you want to stay entertained, you don't get rid of the flyweights. So
yeah,
yeah,
definitely,
I think
definitely.
it's a division, and it's a hard division. It's always stacked. There's never not there's never not good guys in that weight division. So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Um,
I'm
so
glad it's here.
so in the UFC, what's your view on the flyweight division in the UFC? Because right now, bro, you got when they used to have just 3 or 4 top contenders, now you got 10 to maybe the whole top 15 could be stated as being legit threats to Davison Figueiredo. Now you have Alex Perez getting the next championship shot, but then you have guys like Brandon Royval, you have guys like Matt Schnell, you have guys like Kai Kara France. All these guys are um, are stepping up. But what are your thoughts? What's your view, Chaz, on the 125 division in the UFC?
Well, I mean, like you said, the top 10 to top 15. Before it was like, a couple guys. Top 3 were good, and then it was like a toss up. But now it's like, I mean, any of them can be potential title contenders. I mean, Alex Perez has only been, I don't believe he's been in the UFC that long. He's, I believe, another LFA vet, and climbed the ranks quick, and it shows you that anyone could be a threat at that division. Look at Brandon Royval. He just got in there, and, he's already, I believe, in the top 5 or top 6. He just beat Kai Kara France. And, I mean, it's entertaining. It's awesome. There's never not a good fight. And, you never know when you're going to get your next shot to call up. I mean, they cut Alex Moreno, and then they signed him back, and he almost was a title contender, So it goes to show you that you should just never give up on your dreams and keep fighting. And it's a very open division, and I think anybody in the top 10 could be a champion, and that's what makes it most fun. Don't get me wrong, it's nice when you have a reigning champ back to back to back to back, but it's also fun when it's always like, oh man, who's gonna win? That makes things more interesting. When you don't have a John Jones as a division or someone like that, when you're like, oh well, he's gonna dust him. Oh, he's gonna dust him. Oh, he's gonna dust him. There becomes a time in other weight classes, and I've seen other champions where you're like, you just know they're gonna win. And does that make it as fun? To me, not really. I like it when it's more of a gamble and more
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I mean, do you see Davison Figueiredo becoming that type of champion the way he starched Joseph Benavidez in his to win the belt, and then the traction and publicity he gained from that, and just watching his fights, yeah, Chaz, he has that potential to be a John Jones type guy.
I don't know. I mean, he also missed weight the first time he fought Joseph Benavidez, so
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he's a big guy, you know. So let's see if he can really stay disciplined and see how long he can actually do this, you know.
yeah.
I don't know if he would ever miss weight again. I don't know if that's something that's popular in his his history of fighting, but um I think the 125 division anybody could be a champion there. So he's gonna have to really step up to be a John Jones type guy. Um, I think Alex Perez can beat him, but I also think that he can beat Alex Perez. So, you know, and then I mean Cody Garbrandt talking about coming down too. Unfortunately, got hurt. Uh, the possibilities are endless at flyweight. So he's gonna have to really step his game up. He's never gonna have to. He's never gonna be able to take a night off or a training day off. It's gonna be hard to hold that belt, in my opinion.
Definitely, man. Damn right. And, with a first defense like Cody Garbrandt, being scheduled, it wasn't. You're being thrown straight to the wolves. Yeah, that's a former UFC bantamweight champion. Yeah,
Right.
bro, he's missed weight. Yeah, and his last fight with Rafael Alcantara, he starched him, bro. He played him like a PlayStation, bro. Yeah, like you're waiting right near the cage, waiting for Rafael to come through, and then you caught back with a huge right hand, bro. That was the Cody Garbrandt I think we were waiting to see, and if Davison Figueiredo had fought Cody Garbrandt, Chaz, do you think that would have been too much for Davison, in terms of the star power and in terms of such a big name for your first title defense?
Yes and no, and I'll tell you why I think that. It depends on which Cody shows up, because we've seen Cody, you know, get into his head, but if he shows up like his last fight, he looked just like he did when he was the champion. And when he fights like that, I think he's one of the best in the world. And I don't. That would have been very tough. So, like I said, it just depended on who showed up that night, which Cody's gonna come to the octagon, because um, he can be world champ, world class, or he can be, too headstrong and get into a swinging match. And I mean, anybody can get knocked out. So, and we've seen it happen to him. So, yeah, that would have been a great fight. I was sad to see him get hurt, but he'll be back, and he's still young. So that, like I said, the flyweight division is super interesting in the next couple of years, and I'm hoping that I'll be a part of that in the next couple of years.
Oh man, you will. Right? I mean, after and you're already being televised on UFC Fight Pass, bro, and that's what the UFC look at when they scout for the Contender Series, and things like that. So yeah, man, Chaz Alex, bro, on the Contender Series, I'm down for that shit, man.
Yeah, me too, man. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Chaz, bro, and going back to how we started off the conversation, bro, with you explaining that you started off attributing to wrestling. Yeah, right? And I remember we were speaking when you posted that post up of Flow Wrestling, yeah, bro. I love wrestling, yeah, bro. I've always been a fan, and being able for it and it being so accessible to me, yeah. But I started doing highlight reels of
Yeah.
on Flow, yeah, bro, and I love doing them. So my question is, in this modern era, yeah, bro. And considering all the legendary wrestlers that we've seen in mixed martial arts, from Dan Severn to Brock Lesnar to Mark Coleman, what is your and there's a lot of talk on who on what martial art is the best base, and we've seen that wrestling may be the best base. In your opinion, bro, first part of the question, what do you think wrestling is that the best base to come into mixed martial arts with?
Yes, I really do. I 100%. I wholeheartedly believe that. You don't know how to wrestle, then you will lose the fight. If you can be the best striker there is, and if you can't defend a takedown, it can be a game over. It can be a real hard night for you. So yeah, I think wrestling is the best base, and not just for the skills of wrestling. What is instilled in you as a wrestler, if you're in a good wrestling program, the mental strength that it develops, I really think it prepares you for a mixed martial artist career if you decide to do so. It's the most mentally taxing sport there is, besides fighting, and it really teaches you a lot. It's another one-on-one sport. It's all on you. You make a mistake, you can lose a match. You make a mistake in a fight, you can lose a fight. So it's very relatable. And like I said, it's one-on-one. You can't blame your teammate for not blocking the play on, or like in football, or for making a bad pass in basketball, or making an error in baseball. Don't get me wrong, team sports are great, and they teach other things too. I played team sports. I was, Pop Warner football my whole life until I was too little for football, and I found wrestling because there's weight classes. So, one-on-one, it teaches you how to handle that. When you lose, you lose. The team doesn't lose, you lose, and it helps you, it humbles you. It lets you know that you are beatable. You never want to lose, don't get me wrong, but I lost a lot of wrestling matches when I was a kid, and I think that helped me transition into MMA, transition into jiu-jitsu. It sucks getting tapped out in the room, but that's where you learn, and you're able to accept that, and be able to set your pride aside. Everyone thinks they're tough until you're getting choked unconscious or stuff like that. So like wrestling, I don't want to get too far off on a tangent, but yeah, no, wrestling is 100% I believe the best base, not just for skills, but for the mentality. Because like we said further back in the interview, mentality is everything when it comes to competing, and wrestling really instills discipline. And you got to diet, you got to focus on your nutrition. You don't have to do that really in any other sport.
Right.
How hard is that to do when you're 15 years old and all your friends want to go to McDonald's and stuff like that? So like wrestling 100%. I think wrestling every day. Wrestling is the best.
And in your opinion, bro, who are your top? I would say top 5 wrestlers right now in MMA, or of all time. Top 5 wrestlers of all time in MMA.
Well, Brock Lesnar. I mean, he was one of the pioneers. I wouldn't. This is in no order.
Yeah, that's fine. That's cool.
Michael Chandler, one of my favorite wrestlers in MMA right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. I don't even know if a lot of people know, but Kamaru Usman, phenomenal wrestler.
Yep.
Henry Cejudo, obviously.
Yeah.
Forgot about
Great.
you, buddy.
One of the greats.
Youngest Olympic champ in the world ever. And then who else could I mean, there's so many.
Oh man.
Darian Caldwell, one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen, and he's phenomenal.
The Wolf.
I mean, yeah, the Wolf, man. Clay Guida. Clay Guida. I mean, I grew up with Clay Guida. A little insight about me: he's a close family friend of ours. So, he was one of the first people that really put MMA into my life. We watched him growing up. He thinks wrestling is life to him, and I couldn't agree more. So I almost forgot about my man Clay Guida. So that's 6. The list could go on. There's almost all American fighters have wrestled at one point in their life.
Yes. No, damn right, man. Chaz, bro, it's great to see that you have so much respect for what brought you to the dance, bro. And it's great to see that you have the maturity to still say, you know what, I didn't get here on my own. I had I had wrestling to thank for what I have, or Pariah for have what I to thank for what I have. And you know, man, just lastly, bro, to wrap it all off, tonight, bro, is fight night, and Brian Ortega returns after his classic featherweight championship encounter with Max Holloway to take on Korean Zombie, bro, Chan Sung Jung, yeah, who returned after 4 years. Yeah, bro,
Right.
he's got three first round knockouts against Frankie Edgar, Renato Moicano, yeah, bro, and Dennis Bermudez, and a fight of the year potentially in the UFC's 25th anniversary show with Yair.
I was there.
Where you were
Yeah,
there,
I was
Denver,
there. I
Denver,
was there. I was
Colorado.
there. Yeah. One of the best fights I've ever seen. Yeah.
What my thoughts to you, bro, is how do you see this one playing out? But how do you see Brian Ortega versus Korean Zombie playing
Oh man.
out?
It's gonna be interesting because I
Yeah,
mean, if Ortega gets his neck, it's a wrap for anybody. You know, if he gets anyone's neck, it's a bad night. So, but Korean Zombie striking is on a whole nother level too. So, and he's performance of the night bonus. That's all he does. So, he's not going to come. I don't think there's going to be any ring rust or anything like that. I mean, he's a seasoned veteran. He knows how to handle himself in there.
yeah.
To be honest, I really do not know who's going to win that fight. And it's going to be a fun one to watch. And everyone should tune in. And I think it's pretty funny that Brian Ortega shaved his head. He looks so different.
Yeah, man. Yeah, shit, bro. He did it for charity, bro. So
Yes, I saw
the hair that he shaved off, he's gonna donate it to kids for children with chemotherapy.
that.
And
Right.
going through therapy, bro. So now, in my opinion, man, I love seeing that. I love seeing that stuff.
Me too.
Um,
Um, like you said, there's a lot of violence and there's a lot. I mean, it's the art of war. Unfortunately, there's blood, sweat, and tears, but there's a lot of really good guys that do this sport. A lot of MMA fighters are really good people. I know that sometimes we might have a bad rap or, in the past maybe, but, I've made some of my best friends from this sport and met some of the, best people in my life currently. And I just want to say thank you to MMA. I want to say thank you to my coach, Drew Lawrence, my previous coaches in my life from wrestling, my high school coaches, Ryan Geist and Jeff Walls. If it weren't for those guys, I don't know if I would ever be doing this kind of stuff. So thank you to them. Thank you to my management team, just all my teammates at Pariah. I love this sport, and I encourage kids out there to step into a wrestling room, to step into onto a BJJ mat. Humble yourself, set your pride aside, and learn something that can really benefit you in your life, and it'll teach you not to be such an asshole.
Fucking oh man, you know what, bro? I 100% agree, man. And this is why I love to do what I do. Yeah, because it gives me such a different perspective to interviewing different guys and sitting with different guys, man. And not only do I get the pleasure to do this, but I get to create a friendship, man. And
Yes,
thank you so
you got
much.
a friend. You got a friend in me, Arjan. I'm not going nowhere.
You got a friend in me too, my brother.
You're my first interview. You're first person to give me the time of day. You're the first person to show interest in my potential. Besides family, friends, and my coaches and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So I can't thank you enough, and MMA Reloaded for giving me the time today and to giving me the platform to speak. And
I'm glad I did. I'm glad I gave you the platform to speak, man. That's why I love to interview the biggest and brightest stars, yeah, of mixed martial arts. Because bro, the maturity that you just showed right now, yeah, is perfect, bro. Flawless, man. Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Um, keep follow me on my Instagram at Chaz Alex MMA, please. Hopefully we got some fight news soon. I stay ready. I almost took a short notice fight. I was actually supposed to fight this Sunday in Tennessee.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, the card got canceled. But I'm always ready. All the regional promotions out there, if you need a flyweight, I'm your guy. I'm
I'll
not
tag
afraid.
them in. I'll tag them in, bro. I'll tag them in. I'll tag them in, man.
Thank you,
Hey,
brother.
man, Chaz Alex, folks. Yeah, well, I look forward to sitting with you again. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man. You have a good one.
You too, brother.